St. Nevis and those throughout the entire Caribbean region. To my Straight Talk family in the Kittitian and Nevision diaspora, I say greetings to all who are logged on to zizonline.com. We also join by our sister station Sugar City FM or Sugar City St. Kitts, that should be fm.com. Those of you who are logged on the World Wide Web and by whatever medium, YouTube, Facebook. I know some of you are in Africa. There are some of you in Asia, some of you in Europe, and there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I am at liberty to say good night. I can say good morning, or I can say good afternoon, as one of such greetings is applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves, perhaps on a short vacation, maybe, just maybe on a business trip, or a lot of you have already considered the region to be your place of abode, and there's some of you who are just stuck because the borders are closed and you just can't find your way back home, my Straight Talk family. And we actually believe, and we do hope and trust that things would be sorted out sooner rather than later, my Straight Talk family, and you'll be able to be repatriated to your place of abode, wherever that is. Hopefully it's St. Kitts. But my Straight Talk family, Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. Let's in the process continue to keep St. Kitts and Nevis as one of the freest countries in the entire world. On this program, we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation, my Straight Talk family, on yet another occasion. And if you are joining me for the first time, yes, we do have first-time listeners each time, and I want to welcome you. Trust and hope it's not going to be your last time. And you tell your family, you tell your friends that you bumped into a program called Straight Talk that's heard every Monday and Thursday night from 8 until 10 p.m. right here on the nation station ZIZ online.com if you are online. And just to inform you, Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls, we include your emails. There's some who send Facebook messages. If I do understand them, I do read them. But you have access by our email, and if you so desire to call, the numbers are 465-2555 and or 718-577-2916. That's 465-2555. That's one number with 3 lines. And then the overseas number, it's 718-577-2916. Yeah, those who like what I call the cloak of anonymity. So we give them an opportunity. We have managed quite well to control that. We have managed quite well to control that pandemic, that disease, that virus, and we will continue to applaud the astute leadership of Chief Medical Officer Dr. Hazel Laws and Medical Chief of Staff Dr. Cameron Wilkerson, also the NEOC, the HEOC, and all the frontline workers who have helped us to manage well. We cannot, however, become complacent. We cannot become complacent because as we may be COVID free, we may want to become complacent. But it is still not over, as a second wave may be worse than a first wave, my Stray Dog family. So we have to be cautious in the way we do things, my Stray Dog family.
I want to remind us that although we have been managing relatively well and we are making significant strides forward, we cannot take our situation for granted. One mistake and the second tide, the second surge, could be more deadly than the first.
Yes, it could be more deadly than the first wave. The second wave, we cannot again be complacent. Our borders are still closed, but will not be closed forever. Many are clamoring for the borders to be open. Our economy needs to be reopened as people need to go back to work. And this has been happening. People have been going back to work in the construction and parts of the hospitality and the manufacturing sectors. In the latter, the manufacturing sectors, some 720 employees, and that's good news, some 720 employees have been back out to work. And that's good news, my Stray Dog family. That's good news.
I am pleased to report that our manufacturing sector and our enclave manufacturing sector in particular is making steady progress in putting our people back to work. Since COVID-19 and the closure of a number of our factories, all 7 major export manufacturers are now back in business. 720 employees are back to work out of a total of 982. That is 73% of manufacturing workers are out to work. We expect by October more workers will be back on the job as the employers satisfy the protocols established by our National Emergency Operating Center, or the NEOC.
Yes, my Stray Dog family, our borders are still closed to international commercial passenger traffic, which has dealt a severe blow to the hotel and the air transportation sectors. Even worse, OECS governments have received what I call a triple whammy over the last 6 months or more. And they are: 1, fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic; 2, the downgrading of the Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority; and 3, the imminent liquidation of LIAT, of our own transport institution. LIAT is an institution over 60 years old. With your indulgence, therefore, my Stray Dog family, I wish to focus tonight on the latter, LIAT. As all of us, I believe, would have already come to the conclusion that the liquidation of LIAT is imminent based on the contents of a comments made by Prime Minister Gaston Brown of Antigua and Barbuda, who is the leader of one of the 4 major shareholders in the company. And Gaston Brown had this to say.
From all indications, LIAT is likely to be liquidated, LIAT 1974 Limited. Now, Antigua and Barbuda's position is that whereas we recognize that the four shareholding governments cannot carry LIAT presently because COVID would have actually increased the losses exponentially. So whereas in all of 2019, LIAT made a loss of about 12 million EC, and that was within the means of the government to subsidize. You would have found since COVID and the fact that the planes have been grounded, they have to pay the lease payments, and they're not getting any revenue, plus there's some other fixed costs that they have to pay, even if they don't operate. They have to maintain staff as well, you know, to maintain the planes and so on, and keep some level of administration going. The losses would have increased exponentially, which means that LIAT, which was always in a very precarious position, is literally now inviable. And a decision will have to be made, potentially to collapse it.
And that decision will have to be made. And just for information, 3 other major shareholders are Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and the Republic of Dominica. After this virus called COVID-19, there just may not be air connectivity between our beautiful islands within the Caribbean. A quick glance at the long history of this institution reveals that the Leeward Islands Air Transport Services was founded in 1956 by Acquisition, yes, Acquisition, the late, now Sir Frank DeLille. 1 year later, in 1957, BWIA acquired 75% of the airline, and LIAT expanded to other Caribbean destinations and obtained new types of aircraft. By 1968, LIAT entered into an agreement with Eastern Airlines to provide passenger feeder services and began flying between San Juan and Antigua, St. Kitts and St. Martin from Eastern's base hub in Puerto Rico. In 1971, UK-based Court Line obtained 75% of the airline. However, Court Line went bankrupt in 1974, and in order to keep the airline flying, the government of 11 Caribbean nations stepped in and acquired the airline. LIAT 1974 Limited, formerly known as the Leeward Islands Air Transport or LIAT, was then constituted and began operating high-frequency inter-island scheduled services to 15 destinations in the Caribbean. The airline's main base is still in the at the Liburd International Airport in Antigua and Barbuda, with a base at the Grantley Adams International Airport in Barbados. The 1980s represented a decade of growth for the airline. After 6 years of operating LIAT, though, many are of the view that it is time to start afresh. Prime Minister Alan Chastanet of St. Lucia echoed that view over 1 year ago.
After 60 years, there's not been an easy solution to LIAT. You know, unfortunately, I'm one of those who believes that really we should start from scratch. I'm absolutely confident that there are other airlines waiting to take up the space that a LIAT would create. Look, from the types of planes that they have to the structures that they have, it's going to be very difficult for LIAT to be able to make it in this environment. So I think that LIAT needs a fundamental overhaul, and that potentially may entail allowing the current structure to go under and allow new entities to rise up, and that governments play their role, which is to support whatever airline on whatever routes that they want to be able.
Imagine that. Allow LIAT to go under, to collapse. It means it won't survive, according to Gaston Brown. St. Kitts Nevis opted out of the LIAT shareholder arrangement in the mid-1980s, nigh 40 years ago. Former Junior Minister of Finance in the Simmons administration, the Honorable Richard Mazza-Keynes, obviously predicted its inviability a long time ago. because Richard Keynes did in fact communicate that decision to the country some years ago.
We took a decision that we will no longer continue to own the shareholdings in the LIAT. We gave notice and we surrendered our shares. In other words, we did not take back 1 cent of the initial amount that was paid in to become a shareholder in LIAT. That is St. Kitts and Nevis, of course, to become a shareholder in the company known as LIAT 1974. And so we exited ourselves from that obligation, and which was a burden for this country. I would want to tell you that we have saved millions of dollars by opting out of that LIAT arrangement.
Opted out in the 1980s. Keynes was wary from the beginning. He was cautious since 1974. Now, LIAT currently has some 668 employees as of December 2019. But since the advent of COVID, COVID-19, beg your pardon, approximately 500 of those workers have been laid off, according to the chair of the shareholder government, Ralph Gonzalez, or Prime Minister Gonzalez, I should say.
The management sent for us their salaries for May, June, and July, and overdue payroll liabilities, because even though they laid off about 500 workers, they kept on a staff about 168 across the network.
So 500 workers have been laid off, and some 168 have been kept on. Our chair of the shareholder government, Ralph Gonzalez, said that the cost of severance payments and holiday pay, when accumulated, could be in the region of some $94 million.
About 93.9, call it $94 million.
$94 million. But truth be told, LIAT has always been a financial burden for its shareholder governments, albeit its financial statements have never been published. Every pundit has concluded that LIAT has never been a viable entity. It has never made profit in any year. As one pundit remarked, LIAT has never been able to stand on its 2 feet, my straight dog family. Even though back in 2013, the CDB, the Caribbean Development Bank, provided an US $65 million loan to shareholder governments for LIAT to modernize its fleet. And the relationship with the CDB dates back to 1975 or thereabout, when it funded the purchase of aircraft, spares, equipment, and so on. In the ensuing years, CDB provided financing in the amount of US $153 million to improve and safeguard the financial viability of LIAT. So even in the midst of large fiscal and debt challenges, the shareholder governments have made a commitment to provide additional funding support to LIAT's operations. Now, truth be told, my straight dog family, a lot of discussion and debate have surrounded the Caribbean airline LIAT. Discussions came from different perspectives. We heard the political argument or discussion. We also heard the economic and social standpoint of some. But mostly some perspectives were downright emotional, and some even bordered, sadly, on insularity. And that, my straight dog family, is very bad. Because Prime Minister Brown even went to the extent to say this, my straight dog family.
What I'm hoping that we do not have going forward with a new entity is any squabble over the location of the headquarters. At the end of the day, the only service that Antigua and Barbuda has enjoyed, unless a service of consequence within CARICOM, is LIAT. And this has been the case for several decades. So I just hope that we're not going to have countries within the region opportunistically fighting us to get the headquarters in their country to displace Antigua and Barbuda.
So the big question tonight is very simple, my straight dog family. Very simple and straightforward. What should be the next steps for LIAT? Yes, business decisions would have to be made in relation to the ease of travel, efficiency, just to name a few, my straight dog family. We have to make decisions that are business decisions.
A business must operate with efficiency, and there must be common sense in its operation. And not because I was doing something 50 years ago, I must continue to do it because somebody benefiting from it. The thing is supposed to serve the regional people. Therefore, decisions that is made, business decision must be based on the people, not in any one government or two governments or any prime minister or couple of prime ministers. It has to be based on the service to the people. We can't be talking about freedom of movement, single market and economy and the people from one country to the next. Nonsense. These are just words. And we have to give teeth to the words. Otherwise, it makes no sense repeating it. So we can have a situation where it costs you more money to go to to go to Barbados from Grenada as compared to going to Miami. So people prefer to go to Miami instead of going to Barbados or go to St. Kitts. The event is not just the money, it's the ease of travel. You hop in a plane at 8 o'clock and you land in Miami at 11:30. Leave Grenada to go to St. Kitts and you see the time you have to, you lose a day. And it's not just the loss of a day, it's the headache and the frustration and all the stresses you go through.
That's what you get experience traveling on LIAT. What about the burden? What about the burden, my straight dog family, of taxes on your tickets, my straight dog family?
If the issue is the monopoly service, and that's it, then I say we must do something about it. If the issue is the taxes that all of us imposing on tickets, then we must do something about it. It is no point that Grenada, for example, will impose some taxes on a ticket. Barbados does it, Trinidad does it, and when the pile goes up, it makes it difficult to travel. So it makes logical sense that we all should meet. Reduce the taxes for government gets, and you know something? We'll get more money. We will get more money because a lot more people will travel. So right now, we are charging ourselves outside of the market. Out of the market, sorry. Makes no sense. So if that is we must do something about it.
You have to do something about it. What about the minimum revenue guarantee, the MRG, as it's called, for uncommercial flights? That's another question we have to consider my Straight Talk family as well.
And if it means that LIAT has 5 flights to Grenada, and in the initial stages is not passenger load, LIAT says to Grenada, look, we need you to subsidize, provide some subsidies for us to continue to fly those routes. Grenada would have no difficulty. Just like we do with American Airlines or any other airlines during the period that they have not, in fact, able to get the kind of flights and load factors that they require, because they're doing business, so they can't be running at a loss. So we would have no difficulty. But I'm not taking money and just say, look at how many millions, put it in and spend it as you want, and I have no transport. Give me a service, I'm going to pay. I'm prepared to pay. In other words, they say pay to play. I remember when I made the statement, some persons in the region say, Grenada must pay to play. I am prepared to play, but not to pay and not get play.
Yes, an MRG arrangement was advanced in 2019 as well by Prime Minister Gonzalez as it relates to the viability of LIAT, a Straight Talk family.
This amended restructuring option calls for a burden sharing approach, including all stakeholders, labor, lessors of 7 of the aircrafts, suppliers and financiers. It involves, too, the introduction of a minimum revenue guarantee model, MRG model, from all countries served by LIAT to be made effective from April 2019. If there are unfavorable responses from the various territories served by LIAT and from the unions in respect of certain proposals, the shareholders may consider further options, including reducing the number of aircraft or even starting a new company.
But you know, we pay MRGs for American and other airlines. Well, why not to LIAT? Another question, is there enough demand for the movement of goods and or services within the Caribbean region? Are there enough passengers and possibilities of other services within the Caribbean in which LIAT can participate and make the airline profitable? Of course, in the process, we must consider customer and or passenger service as well, my Straight Talk family. That is of maximum importance. We must include and improve the service.
We have to improve the customer service. That is sadly lacking. You know, when you go up to a LIAT counter, you feel like a stranger. You know, nobody will welcome you. Good morning, sir. How are you today? You know, making you feel important. And we have to improve.
Yes, we have to improve that service. The customer experience concept must be important as it measures the overall perception of the customer or passenger towards LIAT's offerings throughout the purchase of a ticket and the physical journey. This involves the customer or passenger's emotional, social and physical responses to the service offered by LIAT, which from all passenger counts were terrible. The service offered is terrible.
I went down to Guyana to spend a little vacation. It took me 2 days to get down to Guyana. Tuesday evening I got here from Guyana, 8 o'clock in the evening. And even though I'm so close to St. Kitts, I'm still here in Antigua, in a nice hotel, getting good food. But something has to be wrong with the operation of LIAT and who is running it. I'll tell you why. When they're spending all these money, with so many of us here from St. Kitts in this nice hotel, giving all these meals, it seems to me like one of these mornings we could wake up and the whole operation of LIAT will be completely closed down. Something must be wrong with the management of LIAT, with what is going on. It's everywhere you go. Every airport. I've been to Suriname. I've been to everywhere, and even over there I'm hearing people talking about LIAT, even though LIAT don't run to Suriname.
Yes, the woes of the passenger. LIAT also had a reputation for losing your luggage as well, my Straight Talk family. The woes continue.
Well, I left here on the Saturday for Grenada. I should have arrived there at 1:15. I spent several hours in the Antigua airport. Cut a long story short, I got into Grenada at 9:30, minus my luggage, which arrived 5 days later. And the return was no better because I went to the airport, Grenada airport, 4 a.m. for a flight which was cancelled. I was told it was now going at 11. We left at 1:30, got into Barbados, sat there until minutes to 9, got into Antigua. The airport was already closed. We were put in a hotel at midnight. At 4 o'clock we were collected to go to the airport for a flight to come home, and we returned to St. Kitts at 6 p.m. on Sunday, minus the bags, which came 2 days later with a hole.
Minus your bags. What is the customer experience in this digital era? In today's world, the internet is crucial to consumers, and lack of access will result in a disruptive event. The response coming from our leaders and passengers alike when asked about LIAT is a common one. A common message is said.
What's your message for LIAT?
Shut down.
That's the message. Shut down. Others would say other things as well, my Straight Talk family. It's common.
No, let me say a thing about LIAT now. Let it crash. Let it go down. Think it's had a lot of running with this LIAT for years. Before, you used to have a lot of travel between the Virgin Islands. One of the most profitable was between St. Kitts, St. Thomas, and St. Clair and St. Kitts. Let it crash. Some American businessmen will come in and take your business. Let LIAT crash. What he wants is everything to be in Antigua. They've been pulling this for years now. Let it go.
Let it go. But there is still some hope, one may ask. Or is there still hope, my Straight Talk family? Is another question.
What is needed for LIAT is for us to work all the islands which engage the services of LIAT to work as a team. There is too much pulling and hauling. We need to put our efforts, combine our efforts, and work together, come up with ideas and solutions to make the airline profitable.
Imagine that. Ideas at this stage, after 60 years, to make that airline profitable? Many are clamoring to open the borders. But how could we leave and or return to St. Kitts Nevis without regional and or international air transportation? Tell me how, my Straight Talk family, is another question I want to ask. So these are the many questions that are posed or that confront us as it relates to the operation of LIAT. The big question again, what should the next steps be, my Straight Talk family? I'll open the lines at 22 before the 9 o'clock hour. I'll entertain your calls and your emails. But when I do so, I anticipate that you will respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. My Straight Talk family, let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in the process, when we say and or do things, let us try to ensure that we will build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. At 21 before the 9 o'clock hour, I go straight to the lines, my Straight Talk family, and say, caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Yes, good evening, Honorable.
My dear brother.
I want to make a statement to you first. Well, I notice every time you're on the air, another station that trying to let the people them know how the government and the senators them are doing the work and different, and letting people know how they're running. I'm not prejudiced against the Naziman and Mr. Politics, but I think it's about time you got to tell both of them cool out. We don't want to hear them arguing amongst themselves on the station. We're not supporting that. The fact remains we are here to hear what the government got in mind, just like how you're talking about LIAT and different things like that, and go down. Not the two of them beating on one another. Okay, so let me tell you what happened with LIAT now. I think you all reached a point where you need to legal LIAT. And the government of the Caribbean is who got LIAT in that position. Because we are a small state, we cannot own airline. You cannot bring an airline and sink it to run to Antigua and all them places. So the best thing is to do, you don't need no restructuring, because they had many of that. What they need to do is legal LIAT, because the government and them, the taxes for LIAT, landing in St. Kitts, Antigua and different places are more costly than the ticket itself. LIAT will show you plain out that is your government and this government who got LIAT prices up there. So legal LIAT and try and find something else that benefit us in the Caribbean so we can move from one island to another island. I remember I used to go to Antigua for $60. Now it's $1,600. So I think you need to really ask about the business and not let the government spend no more money in that. Good night, sir.
Good night.
Have a nice evening.
Thanks for your input. You know, it's very interesting we talk about the taxes. But when you went to Antigua for $60, Antigua didn't have such a nice airport with air bridges and, you know, where the air conditioned and so on. So how would the government recover that cost, that capital cost, to improve the infrastructure? Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Hello, good night. I would like to find out a question from you. With the COVID-19 fund relief, you have some people with pensioners and they were working, they were also off. So we want to know if they didn't deserve any money, because they was trying to make something too while working after the 62. And then they went on this COVID thing and they didn't get any money. And now they're trying to apply. Some say they ain't going to get and some say they're going to get so. We want to know how that really go. Because they have bills to pay, same like the others. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, if the pensioners, and I believe there's no discrimination against pensioners, once you live in a household that accumulates or earns less than $3,000 or $3,000 and or less, then you are entitled to the $500 in relation to that poverty alleviation program. I believe you qualify in that area and not for the $1,000, because you're already a pensioner, so you should try and get the PAP, as we call it. Caller, you live.
Oh, question. Yes, good night, Patrice.
Good night, my dear.
Good night to the listeners. Yeah, that's my pet peeve. I think they should privatize. But when I say privatize, I don't mean foreigners. I think we have enough millionaires in the Caribbean, enough companies that are doing well, properly managed, and I think we should throw it out to the private sector in the Caribbean to run LIAT, and it is absolutely necessary to move the headquarters from Antigua. You can't be doing the same thing over and over and over and expect a different result. That is lunacy. I think the headquarters being in Antigua is the biggest hindrance to LIAT, is the biggest setback to LIAT. I don't care what Gaston say. Move the headquarters to a country where people manage things properly. I would challenge Gaston to tell me one thing in Antigua that is managed properly. Or managed better than LIAT. Privatize LIAT. Call on all millionaires to be shareholders in LIAT. Even call on the ordinary community of the Caribbean community to be shareholders in LIAT, not the governments, and not governments that don't know how to manage their economy, not governments that can't pay the workers. That's my contribution.
A sound contribution, my dear. Privatize LIAT, and as Prime Minister Brown said, no squabbling for...
What I'm hoping that we do not have going forward with a new entity is any squabble over the location of the headquarters. At the end of the day, the only service that Antigua and Barbuda has enjoyed, unless a service of consequence within CARICOM, is LIAT.
Well, does Antigua have an entitlement to retain the headquarters of LIAT? That's the question. Caller, you live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, my brother.
How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm peaceful, the help of the helpless.
And the voice of the voiceless. I haven't lost my voice, so I still retain that title also.
Yes, my dear brother, my dear brother. Oh.
Yes. Let me greet you in the presence of the ancestors in whose shoulders I stand. I too want to echo the sentiments of what I consider to be the childishness with two of the regular callers. Their contribution is worthwhile. I think this medium would facilitate, the growth, the ideas to really propel this nation forward. And their contribution is worthwhile. But I think it is very childish for them to be getting on. And you always want the whole world to hear us with our contribution. Can't imagine the whole world hearing both Mr. Politics who have made so many contributions over the years and Bernice, big grown persons acting like that on radio. Cease and desist, please. That last week, Monday gone was the poorest, in terms of their contribution. In fact, Mr. Politics called in 4 times, and he knows the rules.
Yeah, but let's move on. You made your point on that, and I agree with you. Let's move on from that, my brother. Yeah.
My take with the LIAT is that I listened to a few clips that you played, and yes, I can occur. I agree with the last caller. We do have enough millionaires, persons with money in the regions. You played a few clips, and one of the suggestion from a gentleman was about some foreign person coming in from the U.S. Why the U.S.? We do have enough persons here with deep pockets that can do it apart from government. So the private sector needs to come up because we do need to maintain the LIAT. It might be under a different name. We hope they retain the name and have persons who in the know-how, who knows how to govern economics and be more viable. But, it is sad. It is an institution that is ours. We are proud people in the Caribbean, and we don't need to look outside for anybody to manage our business. We are proud people. We're not sellouts. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for your input. We go straight back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Hello, Mr. Liburd. Good night.
Yes,
good night.
Good night, my dear.
I would just like us to get an airline. What we once knew, used to go to man 3-4 them. Remember when you used to go to man 3-4 them a week? Feels so nice. We need to get it steady again, man. I don't know what happened to this Antigua thing. You can base somewhere else. They need to manage. One person that say, I overheard some of them was want another $3,000 a month. Oh my gosh. They're going to run the thing dry. Now you see what's happening. And we need to travel over $1,000 for me to say, man, no, I can't even go no more. I remember I work at the CO. I used to just run off on a Saturday, guys, say, Martin, I come back in the night maybe Monday. And I good to go. And then thanks for everybody who talking about this stupidness, back and forth. I don't know, you don't grow up.
We're not going to go there tonight. I'm telling you that. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live.
Good night to Honorable Ian Patches.
Yes,
good night.
Good night, sir.
Patches, up today I was on a different program.
Politics.
Please,
I'm not going there.
I ain't going there. Listen.
So let's talk about later tonight.
I don't see enough into this radio program.
Fine, right, go ahead.
To do these things. Yeah, I ain't going there. Yeah. Patches, I used to work at a hotel. Right? And Patches, because I was the night editor. And anybody coming in the night, I check the name and all these things, right? And Patches, the amount of calls, people stock up the airport. Sometimes the hotel don't can't hold them. I will call other hotel, other small hotel in Philip Bay, like Boardwalk Beach and Ocean View and all those places. I have to call them and ask them if they got people to talk to, because some people from late come in and may have no room, sometimes have room. But sometimes the people come in, they have nothing to eat. People hungry, they want to know where they're going to do, the luggage not come. You understand? And I believe now, it's time enough that something new come on the block and revamp LIAT. We not talk about LIAT this and LIAT that and LIAT where. You understand? We can't afford to get this airline just messing up travelers all the time, Patches. You understand? And Patches, let me tell you again, right? I just want the Straight Talk Radio program to be consistent and to be good. And I want to thank my good friend Africa and thank Rockefeller. You understand? I had no reason to go there, and whosoever had no reason to go there. But Patches, wonderful program, a good time, and keep on Straight Talk. Patches, have a wonderful night. God bless.
Have a wonderful night as well,
yeah.
Dear brother. Let's go straight back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, man. Yeah, good evening. How are you, man?
I am peaceful, sir. Yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. I don't think it needs a rocket scientist to figure this thing about LIAT. This LIAT thing is a dead note, man. You guys need to move on past this LIAT stuff, just like moving on past the fact that the election is over.
Yeah, but if you move on to what? Because isn't it important that we have a air transportation or interregional carrier that we need to move around?
Yeah, we do need that in the Caribbean. LIAT has been managed poorly, and now it's time for LIAT. The headquarters need to be moved from Antigua. You know, all that stuff needs to be done. They're either going to liquidate LIAT right now and get a new company, or they seek for new investment. And the Caribbean people, they got to come together, man. There's no togetherness. You know, I don't really like how the Prime Minister of Antigua, the attitude that he has. You know, he got the attitude like LIAT headquarters must stay in Antigua. You know, they've been had the headquarters there for so long, and LIAT is a failure. So that should tell the whole Caribbean that the headquarters need to be moved. You know, I mean, it's time for the Caribbean people to get it together, man. We need a regional service. You know, and I don't know how y'all gonna get it together, but you know, it appears like Gaston Brown in Antigua, if the headquarters move to another island, he's not going to be supportive. And that's the type of problem we have in the Caribbean. But that's my contribution, man. I hope you guys get it together, because the border's about to be opened up and the Caribbean people need transport around.
Okay.
All right, that's my contribution, man. Good luck with that.
Thanks a lot. Some contribution. We must first agree, however, that reliable and efficient regional air transportation is an indispensable underpinning of Caribbean development. Let's go back to the lines. Call you live.
Good night. What a wonderful night. Are you all right?
I am peaceful here. You have a radio equipment in the background there?
Just give me a minute.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Thanks, sir.
I just was going to say the same thing that the fellow said. You all need to scrap LIAT. Scrap it. Because Gaston Brown don't talk in stupidness about headquarters and things. If you all go into that and raise up that again to make a company, no, we're going to get the same old thing. So what I think you all should do is let it crash. Let it crash, and someone going to come in with something else. So it would be best for a new thing to start. This is too much. Too much hand was in the cafe in LIAT. So I would like to see a new thing forward. Because if it's LIAT, it's going to be Gaston done telling you he won't like the headquarters to move. So you know what that means. So let it scratch and get a new airline for the Caribbean. Thank you. Have a good night. Enjoy yourself. While going home, take care. Okay?
Thank you very much. And have yourself a good night as well, my dear. A possible solution is perhaps to forge strategic alliances with larger extra-regional carriers, because this would perhaps enable the achievement of what is needed, increase economies of scale, cost efficiencies, and shared services. What about that, my Straight Talk family? Caller, you're live.
Yes, I'm good evening. I listen to you all the LIAT, but a lot of a big man go on LIAT, and I sure they really pay LIAT. So if I could help LIAT, I am helping, because the amount of money given for election, I could help LIAT. And anyway, this first governor in St. Kitts was the policy up Milligan. And now we want to go back in the white man them hand. He was a white man, the policy. And when Christmas comes, he got the people them jumping over the flag. That's how they get the flag thing. Okay. We are not going back to that here. Okay. We are black people, not white people. Okay. And you have a Facebook here, and I was listening a clip on a Facebook, but I couldn't see the person, and they're saying this amount of money somebody give them, and they're showing the fees. Okay. So if I will make some money, nobody will know. Yeah, that's it. I don't work for money. I work for the Labour Party. And you have a better evening.
Can I ask you a question?
I don't hear me now. Nobody can tell me nothing tomorrow morning. Because I got to tell the manager to me, welcome back. I send it to the land. Have a good night, Patrick.
Have a good night, man. That is what Straight Talk all about. As a young boy, I'm not trying to be facetious here, but as a young boy, she reminded me of what we used to say, morning Peter Cabbage Mom. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you live.
How you know is that a coming with? Good evening, sir.
Good evening, my dear brother.
Okay. Well, I think the volcano is wide enough that we could put LIAT in there. And who want them, they could take them out and do what they want with them. But no government supposed to put any money in LIAT. LIAT has been around. I built the airport up there, Patches. When we walking on that strip, I used to count the amount of time LIAT come in them big British airlines, airplane. And now look what LIAT reached to. It is bad management. One time when we went to Antigua go race bike, when I come off the plane, the amount of man up there is on LIAT airport, and he had two of them in the hangars. I said, wait, we up here got everybody who work for LIAT, and what we got down in St. Kitts? 2 people by the counter and 5 out there by the baggage. I said something wrong. My boss in St. Thomas, I used to work for in a warehouse, and he tell me, anyhow you see cobweb and your product you got in there, it is time to get rid of them. They ain't selling. LIAT has cobweb, and it's time for LIAT to go. And he got enough millionaires around here in St. Kitts and Nevis who just count the money and boast on the money and take the money and do stupidness when all of them could come together. Put your money for the love of the country. Country about self, that hold the money until you get rotten and weak and you can't touch it. Put your money there and let us have an airline to go. Patches, this is the last thing I'm going to say. One time I was coming from St. Thomas to spend some time with my mother, and I said, look, let me buy a case of chicken wing. £30, 6-5 pounds. When I reach in St. Martin, only the chicken wing and a little suitcase in my hand. They take out my luggage. And when LIAT rise, he passed St. Kitts, went to Antigua, come back down with me. And up to now, my chicken wing them in the air flying, they reach by me. Every day I go up there for my chicken wing, they're telling me they're going to come. That is the bad management of how LIAT was handled. Let Gaston Brown and whoever else he competing with, one LIAT up there, lady compete with them and argue with them, not our government. It's a good thing our government smart and never put no money in it. I'll come back to me second do. Thank you, Patrice.
Thank you very much. Yes, there seemed to be a concurrence. There seemed to be agreement. Yes, let LIAT collapse. Some people say let it crash. We don't mean it in that context of going under. Rather, they think in the context of going under financially. But what about about the policymakers in terms of revisiting the issue of a regional air transport policy? We say millionaires we want Caribbean private sector investment, but who are going to convince them to take that risk? Because the airline business is risky business. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Yeah.
Good night, my dear.
This is I'm calling from St. Thomas.
Yes, you have a radio in the background or equipment in the background? Just move away. Just move away, please. I'll turn it off.
Who are going to convince them to take that? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You're live.
Yeah, I don't know if you recall, every Christmas, somebody used to sabotage like saying it. Every Christmas, remember a couple years ago, they used to strike. And for some Caribbean, where think it was start thinking to move to be a Caribbean country, I don't seem to understand why LIAT just always strike like around December time. If you could recall that.
Yeah, but that's a long time ago. But going forward, what do you think about LIAT? What should we do? Not just about LIAT, but in terms of interregional travel by air.
Well, I feel like.
And that includes coming from St. Thomas.
My opinion, like TDC and Rams, then they're big like companies. I think Sankits need to get their own right now. The way all Sankits are moving, like in tourism and like the quality of things, like some music fest right now, and people can't get flight to go Sankit. They don't want to leave here to go to Antigua and come back up, and I think Sankits going to another level to him wait on it right now. It's time to move on, I think.
Best in your airline.
Yes, things need to get their own airline.
Oh.
Right now we have the airline are trying the best, like Air Sunshine and Hummingbird, and I think you give them a chance because they're pushing to get people to St. Kitts, and that's what you need, because every foot that drops in St. Kitts is $100 for head tax. We call it
service charge.
So, definitely, yeah. So LIAT really not a help source now, and the way St. Kitts going right now is too much right now to keep pushing in LIAT pocket when they're not a help to us. That's my advice. That's my end about that.
Okay, got you, my dear brother, loud and clear. Get your own airline. Is that financially or economically feasible? Caller, you live.
Good night, my dear beloved brother.
My dear sister, how art thou?
I'm good. Good. And how are you?
I am peaceful. Really peaceful.
Praise. Thank God. Topic tonight, sweet. Really sweet. LIAT is a failure, and they ain't coming back. Putting in money in LIAT is like putting in water in a leaking bucket. The management of LIAT need to go in a classroom to know how to spend money. Every year is the same problem. Corona or no corona is the same problem with LIAT. They cannot manage. The management wants changing, and also the location. It is not right. Our Caribbean, whether they're millionaires, our poor people, or the country leaders, cannot put no more money in LIAT. We have done enough. Dr. Shimon is putting some money in LIAT for shares. They never give him a dime from his shares. Dr. Honorable Timothy Harris came, and he gave them also. No Caribbean leaders shall continue to support LIAT. It's like throwing water in a leaking bucket. My dear brother, that's all I have to say tonight. Have a good night, safe journey home, and all the best. Good night.
My dear, well said. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Hello, Mr. Stratak. How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Mr. Stratak, it's good to hear you again tonight. You're sounding a lot better than before. I just want to give my short contribution. See, every time I travel to LIAT, I think LIAT is good. But LIAT need a shaking up. Understand? My job, when this thing happened, they call all of us together and they say, boys, if you're going to go home, you're going to go home, but you're not going to get paid. We say, what? We're going to go home and not going to get paid? They say, we're going to keep you guys here. Just come out to work. LIAT has to do the same thing. Come out to work and work. No last people luggage. LIAT lost my luggage. When I do get my luggage mash up. But I think you guys can do something good with LIAT. If not, you do what you guys got to do. Because this thing now work. You're losing money, you're going to do something to get back your money. So, Mr. Smith, you have a wonderful night. You guys just do what you guys got to do. Get something on board. Because we need something. God bless you. See you when I see you.
See you, my dear brother. Patches, tell the people about your head critic with his fake will who worshipped money of the time when he was going to sell Sansford prime land for 20 EC cents a square foot. You already mentioned the money he didn't get for the second pier and the insurance on government homes. You see, who isn't transparent, he can put a lie to you. Oh, I hear Arthur throw them Labour dog out the place. But they tell the outlaw from number 6 to step aside. More bad words went on. Good night. God bless and keep you safe. Reads this email. My straight dog family, this email reads, good evening, Patches. Is the lady who keeps calling into your program and other talk shows with the refrain that she voted in the government in 2015 this year. Before the elections, I can recall she told the PM on air he should better make an effort to deal with an issue she had or else. I know every vote is important, but people must realize that each one of us only has one vote and one person can't elect a government. I know this is a democratic country, but people need to look at the bigger picture where we are blessed with a good government and stop thinking about personal benefits, reads this email. This other email reads, I want to shower praises on the Social Security Director, Antonio Maynard, for the excellent job he has been doing since his appointment. Dwyer launched a scorching attack on him, saying he's not fit and qualified for the position. And what hurt me most is that contender, his brother, coupled with his nephew Conris, did not have the courage to condemn and denounce Dwyer for the unwarranted attack on the young man, all because of their dirty, nasty politics. For they are fully aware that Mr. Maynard is well qualified for the job. Dwyer went further and brought a Kunumuno man on his program to join him cast aspersions on Maynard. Stand tall, Maynard. We are backing you. At 9 o'clock, okay, we missed that. 9 o'clock. I've missed that call. Let's take this other email. This other email reads, I see a Facebook post purportedly emanating from a bitter Labour character known as Beg and Borrow. He concocted a story calculated to beg sympathy, talking about a Labour woman in Sandy Point called him and beg and borrow as he was passing. Then the next day he was in a supermarket behind the said lady at the cashier, and she did not have the money to pay for food, and she had to leave him. That liar went on further to say that he could have paid for her, but because the woman had said to him the day before, beg and borrow, take that, referring to the Labour defeat at the polls, he did not pay. I personally believe that he was the one it happened to, for he never has money to pay for anything, and those who sympathize with him are so easily fooled. I too want to say to him, and go a little further, beg and borrow, take that. Labour dead, reads this email. My Straight Dog family, if you're just joining us, we are looking at the fate, so to speak, of LIAT. We are aware of the governments, and as I said, have received a triple whammy over the last 6 months. They have the fallout of the COVID-19 pandemic, the downgrading of ECHO, and the imminent liquidation of LIAT, our own air transport institution. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Greetings in the name of our great African ancestors, especially the most honorable Marcus Messiah Gavi, Queen and Zinga, and in the spirit of Dr. Kuba Africa. Blessed evening, my beloved African brother. How are you and your family?
Peaceful, my brother. And you and yours?
Good, brother. Good, always great, for now, brother. Let me say, right? I know a lot of people disagree with me, but when I talk and I shoot straight, beloved brother. Brother, LIAT must be saved. I ain't hearing nobody. That's the first airline I fly on, brother. 50 years ago, beloved brother, when I first traveled. 50 years ago, on LIAT. But that beside the point, brother. You see, brother, LIAT being mismanaged by people who look like me and you for years out of North America and Europe. They make millions, and when they make the millions, they just run off. But that is the Caribbean government for beloved brother, because there's still this inferior complex among people who look like me and your brother, that you always take somebody, non-African person, who make things right. But that is totally wrong. I agree with my brother Africa, beloved brother. Brother, we must save LIAT, but LIAT must do the right thing too. Brother, we must put people inside there who can manage things, who look like me and you, from the Caribbean region, and those who live. If you can't find nobody who look like me and you, brother, find somebody outside of the Caribbean, an African person to manage LIAT. Brother, and all of these governments, all of these islands that LIAT travel to, they must put something into LIAT and save LIAT, including the land of my birth, beloved brother, with my water in my mouth, beloved brother. The most, brother, and let me tell you something, Dr. Keith Mitchell, the Prime Minister of Grenada, he said the most sensible thing. But brother, I'm going to tell you, Alan Shaffiman, right? And Ras Gonzalez, I don't know, you should be aware of this, beloved brother. I think they have airlines in their respective countries, beloved brother. They want to see the demise of LIAT, so they can benefit. St. Vincent and the Grenadines just below your airport, beloved brother. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with progress, beloved brother, but not at the demise of our regional airline, beloved brother. What are you going to scrap LIAT for? For what? Some white boy or some white girl come from outside, beloved brother, and run our airline again, and we got to pay all these millions to them? I don't know, brother. Okay. If there's anything that the government contribute and ordinary people like me and you, brother, the shareholders in there, along with those African millionaires that we got from Trinidad in the south to Jamaica in the north in the Caribbean, brother. We can save LIAT, and we must save LIAT, beloved brother.
Okay.
This nonsense about the LIAT crash, I mean, it's the idea, right? That's what they think, but LIAT should not crash. We must save LIAT. Forget about Gaston Bone. I don't support Gaston Bone, guys. He's a clown, beloved brother. But LIAT must be saved. Brother, thanks again for hearing me. Keep up the great work on Africanism in our parish. One love, my beloved brother.
One love, my dear brother. Let's save LIAT and try to ensure that there's good management. That's in the wilderness in terms of tonight's discussion. Was very important intervention just now. Caller, you live.
Yeah, good night, Mr. Liburd.
Good night, sir.
And good night to the listening audience with the Aquatic Planet. I want to endorse everything that caller just now has said. Mr. Liburd, between St. Kitts and Antigua is close, right? And LIAT basin in Antigua, for all these years, it has been beneficial to people in St. Kitts. It has been very beneficial to the... So when people talking about more LIAT from there, so you want to go? Fly from Barbados to St. Kitts? You know how long that there is? The people got to think twice, and the guy was right. It's not much money they asked him for to put up the island in operation. He made us the one to about $5-something million and so on the level.
No, they have $94 million in debt.
$94 million, but in terms of the operation, how much they was asking for in there to go back in operation? They was asking for a certain amount of money. If you recall, because I didn't remember the exact amount, but they had the discussion today on Freedom FM and on Win FM, and I didn't remember. But at the same time, don't tell me that these people who call themselves government around here don't care what happened in the past. It could change. Cannot come up with a bailout for LIAT. Excuse me? The government of the region cannot bail out LIAT? Look at what done in that situation in the US when the airline, banks and everything went down. So now LIAT is down, so they're supposed to sell them. I don't subscribe to that. I think it's the best thing that they keep it in Antigua. One, it's better for the people in St. Kitts. You don't have to fly far. If you're coming from anywhere, you can easily come down, whether in morning or night. And at the same time, I think it's better for the region to try to make sure they bail out the airline. Have a good night.
Have a good night as well, my dear brother. Bail out LIAT is his view. This is what the chair of the shareholders had to say about the debt by Street of Family.
Maintenance of the aircraft, insurance, repatriation of staff and health insurance coverage, and rental of office equipment, utilities. That number comes up to about 10.8 million EC dollars. As at May 2020, LIAT had paid bookings of $4.3 million outstanding. That's US dollars. That's over $10 million.
Over $10 million. Let's go back to the caller. You are live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Patrick.
Good night, my brother.
How are you, my friend?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
The Lord has been good to me in spite of myself, Patrick. Patrick, I have one question to ask. How can it be that an airline that has a monopoly in the Caribbean, with all of the support of the Caribbean, go into the situation that it is? How can that be? Good night, Patrick.
Good night. Well, as it was intimated earlier, that in 2013, I think it was, some US dollars, $65 million was injected, or borrowed, I should say, by the shareholder governments from the Caribbean Development Bank to refleet LIAT, and refleet in terms of just 3 new airlines. And in fact, they leased the other airlines, so that perhaps tells us the how in terms of modernizing its fleet. It cost them in 2013, like I said, US $65 million, and that's really money.
Sorry. Yeah, this me second and me last do. Brother Patches, I want to say something here. What sense do it make? You have a bucket in your house and your table, and it has a hole in the bottom, and you keep throwing your water in the bucket all day. Do you think you will see the bucket full without your floor being wet up? Too much money being pumped in LIAT over the years, and problem just don't happen. Is a reason why they happen. What caused the problem? And what caused the problem is bad management at the head. And until they move the head off the rest of the body, LIAT will stay where it is. It ain't gonna get no better. Now, Patches, do not mind them there who want to bring you down, who want to humiliate you and call you all kind of things. Because it's a shame when somebody has to be discharged from their work disgracefully for thieving, especially the government revenue. So don't mind Appleton, Roman, Bumming, Benson and Hedges, cigarette begging, beg and borrow when he's saying all kind of things about you, and that he's gonna take the government to court because the government cheat election. Beg and borrow has no moral authority to come and say he's gonna take the government to court because they cheat in the election. Clean up yourself before you attack anybody else, Mr. Rubbing, Bumming, Beg and Borrow. Thank you, Patches. That's it for the night.
Thank you.
I was safe ride home.
Thanks for your input. Gaston Brown, you should know how lie Doug is. I am sure you recall that your Minister of Education came to St. Kitts to help one of Douglas's paralytic candidates campaign against Harris. Although he came here as a political enemy of Harris, he was welcomed with open arms and given first-class dignitary treatment. But that liar vagabond Minister Green publicized a lie on Dr. Harris, beg your pardon, saying how he called his Prime Minister, telling him he should not be allowed to travel to St. Kitts. But I was very happy, Gaston, that you had set the record straight when you articulated that Harris spoke with you but never mentioned anything like that as to what Green was accusing him of. No wonder Harris's opponent Nadza got such a crushing defeat at the polls, all because of that Antiguan, thankless, ungrateful liar. Caller, you are Mr. Caller. Listen these calls. Yes, my Straight Dog family, at 21 past 9 o'clock, we go straight back to the lines. Caller, you live.
Yes, guys, again, Patches.
Good night.
Yeah, I am not advocating anymore the killing of LIAT. I used to think so. There was a time I used to think, boy, I used to turn that airline out the ear because it's the worst. I used to travel a lot. And I do my best not to travel on other airlines different to Caribbean Airline. When I say Caribbean Airline, I mean like Winair, LIAT and so. And the service on LIAT was never good. You have to hold your baggage close to your heart because if you put them in the baggage compartment, allow them, you will lose them. And there's nobody really to complain to because where you have to lodge your complaint is where the baggage being stolen from, missing from, I should say. But I think that the Caribbean governments government ministers behave like if they have a monopoly on knowledge. I can't recall ever any comprehensive discussion among Caribbean people taking place as to what we're going to do with LIAT. The future of LIAT, the present of LIAT, the past of LIAT. You will just hear them announce something, or they have to pay something to bail out LIAT. They have to do this. No, we never have a real forum. What are we going to do with LIAT? What are we going to do with travel? Even if you have to change the name, the LIAT name, and have another airline name or whatever, Caribbean government refuse to engage with the people in our affairs, especially something as important as travel. I panicked when I heard that LIAT is going on. Because as it is now, we are locked in. We are boxed in. We don't know when the international airlines are going to come to our shows again. And now our regional airline is announcing that it will not be flying us around the region. We are boxed in. We are boxed in, so we have to do something about it. And the first thing has to be a discussion. Engage Caribbean people. It's our airline. It's our business. It's our travel. The time when politicians just tell us what they're going to do is over and done with. Engage with the people and not mind a talk show. Not mind a talk show. Real forum. Sit down in the same hotel that they like to go sit down and discuss whatever. Engage the people, stakeholders, a teacher, a lawyer, a doctor, an ordinary person, a Mr. Politics, a culture, somebody. Not just you dictate to us. And then what you come up with? Nonsense? It's just nonsense they're coming up with. Caribbean politicians do not have a monopoly on knowledge. And some of them are very bright, as you can see. So engage us, the people. Engage us in our affairs. Starting from now. COVID tell you, rethink your whole thing. New ways of dealing with people, new ways of going forward. That's what the COVID-19 come to do, to reset the way how you do things. And start with LIAT, because we cannot afford to be boxed in the Caribbean without an airline to take us around. And that is what we're facing. Night, Patches.
Good night, my dear. Sound intervention. We need to engage in dialogue, but you're so correct. COVID has reset the world. And I like what you said, we are boxed in, really, because, yes, if we open the borders, what airlines are going to come? Where will you travel to? There are many challenges as well of our region's air transportation, the region's air transportation sector faces. When we consider the small, non-contiguous islands, the sparse intra-regional traffic, short routes, and the inevitable lack of economies of scale, any standalone intra-regional air transportation service like the one provided by LIAT is unlikely to deliver on desire for low-cost air travel. That's a fact. Those are the challenges we face. And a possible solution, again, is to forge strategic alliances. But I like what you said, though, in terms of the engagement of the people that are looking forward or who use LIAT themselves.
Hello?
Yes, caller, you're live. Could you turn the equipment down, move away from your radio, your computer?
Can I call in and
Beg pardon?
the talk tonight?
You are live on radio.
Yeah. I would like to say something because they're talking about LIAT, but do they remember that Gaston Brown, when we had asked for, can we put in Gaston Brown, say he don't want the small island to put in no input in LIAT? Because everybody had us to be a small island.
I'm listening there.
Well, let me son.
So, why now everybody are talking about small island, Trinidad, Barbados, Guyana, and them. They say the small island people, them, they don't want them the neck. That's why they had the money. And all of them just go against Harry. They know to live to see. They come back to and the small island, and they still want to run out of small island. So that's stop going on them. They're supposed to go and talk to the people, them and come and say, oh, well, no, they say it's supposed to be Harry, supposed to live in unity, and LIAT. Because when LIAT trouble first them, and most of the people and division people who so want from them, you know? So that's how I say.
Thank you very much, my dear. This message reads that BWIA revamped and came back as Caribbean Airlines. The transition was very good. LIAT need to take a page out of their book and do some revamping, restructuring, and reshuffling. What do you think? Caller, you're live.
Mr. Lab, good night.
Good night, sir.
I just want to speak about the LIAT, FASCO. I think the whole problem is coming from Antigua. And the Prime Minister from Antigua should come and apologize to the people for the way that he speaks about if people want to get out of LIAT of Antigua, something. I don't know, like he tone a voice as a Prime Minister, which everyone is trying to find a way out. Get LIAT out of Antigua, put it somewhere where we can solve certain problems, and let LIAT fly. When you're going to have LIAT in Antigua, and every year they come in with some sort of that problem, and they want the other island to help them. How can the other island help them when the problem is in Antigua? And he have the most valuable people working for LIAT. And that is the whole point. Gaston Brown should understand themselves. They didn't bring LIAT to where it is today. It's a gentleman from St. Kitts, I really can't remember his name, and Mr. King was a pilot, and the Celtic brothers, them, all those was pilots for LIAT. And right now, some of them is studying the grave for the way that how he's speaking. Ghana, the way LIAT belongs to Antigua. LIAT is a regional island plane which they call Leave Island at any time. And people think it's all they get knocked out when they're coming from St. Thomas at St. Croix, with late, because the people had to fly over St. Kitts and then come back down to St. Kitts, which was wrong. And he know that. And we all have to hold one head and one hand, say, look, we have to get Liat out of Antigua. We're not going to pump in no money, absolutely nowhere. You got to get our own aircraft. And that's the whole situation. You have a good night.
Have a good night, my dear brother. Very interesting. Get Liat out of Antigua. Will that solve the problem, my Straight Talk family? Caller, you're live.
One head and one hand.
Hello, caller.
So look,
Hello, caller.
Yeah, hello?
Yes, also.
Yeah, this Liat issue is definitely going to create a rift between Antigua and St. Kitts and Nevis. I see that coming already. Because right now, you know, with the way how St. Kitts and Nevis is progressing, it's time that we as St. Kitts and Nevis people try to make a mark for ourselves. You know, the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, he probably need to solicit to try to get the headquarters moved down to St. Kitts. That's you know, these guys in Antigua, they've been managing LIAT for years. It's time for change. I mean, change got to come sometimes. You know, the economy in St. Kitts and Nevis is doing pretty good. The Prime Minister is managing the financial affairs of those two islands pretty good. And they have so much millionaires in the Caribbean, but the headquarters, it's time for the headquarters to move. Otherwise, St. Kitts and Nevis should try to come up with a plan to get their own airline. There's nothing wrong with that. And they need competition in the Caribbean so that the prices could be down. And the air travel prices could be down. LIAT is monopolizing the region too much with that bad service that they got. That's my contribution, man.
Okay, thank you for your contribution, caller. You are live.
Patrick.
So,
I just want to tell my good friend, Brother Nabio, what LIAT, the company LIAT, got to do with the race. LIAT into a business, whether white or black people in the company or the business, nobody are going to not lose. I don't think he cannot do no race about white, this time white, black. He got black people here, million black people all about the place won't invest the money into things. He got the Indian come here and invest in the money. And he got other black people now invest the money, nothing. He got people that sitting down on the money. So I don't see no race with no white, with the black and white and this and Indian and whatever ever. Nobody invest the money into nothing going to lose. LIAT is just corrupt and they fail the people at the Caribbean, and if they got to go, they got to go. That ain't have nothing to do with the race, because nobody going to not lose. And good night to me good friend over here, Patrick, we good talkers, me good friend over Tabernacle, Antigua, blood, and Mostrap blood, Shaolin, good night. You should express yourself, that is the cousin. Alright then, Patrick, have a wonderful night, God bless.
Okay, my brother, have a wonderful night as well. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I want to say that I support LIAT, restructured LIAT, but I think we should take some time to explore what are some of the possible issues that someday, from our distance as observers, that we could find wrong with LIAT. So I thought I'd mention a few things. One, far too many blue-collared workers. Two, the planes that LIAT now have are really too big for the Leeward Islands per se. They may be big enough for Trinidad to Barbados, but you can't fly those planes between St. Kitts and St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis and St. Thomas. It doesn't make any sense. Three, I think that we have to be honest with ourselves. The baggage situation at LIAT. LIAT really should have imposed a baggage fee just as American Airlines and the others did long ago. And then they really could have done better in terms of baggage tracking. I think that at least from the distance, I'm not a shareholder, I don't know, I fly LIAT, and there are some things that just stand out. The transit of people to St. Martin is an enormous financial burden. It should not happen. St. Martin is probably one of the most expensive airports in the region. Liat has to do better. I think all of us remember some years ago when Liat and it had its pilot salary dispute. When it came out that the pilots for Liat were making sometimes as much as 7 times the pilots that who used to fly for American Eagle. How is it possible for the administrative and pilot salary scales on a small regional airline to be so exorbitant when compared to similar airlines based across the United States? So I think maybe Liat really ought to consider some smaller planes. Maybe to go back to the 20-seater as part of the fleet. It also probably ought to think about its schedule. Its schedule is inflexible, so it flies the same route the same time every day. And so there's Carnival in St. Kitts, and those of us who live in the Virgin Islands, we can't get to St. Kitts because Liat is flying its traditional scheduling. And then perhaps I think just one other thing I should mention. Maybe it's time that employees of Liat become part owners. We have to make our people vested in what they do. And when you pass through Antigua, you really can't miss the enormous number of what you might call white-collar workers, if you want to put it that way. Those workers who are administrators. They just stand around. How could so many people be standing around? What is their job? And so no airline with 8 or 10 planes can support 700 to 900 employees. It's just far too much. But for those people who say take it out of Antigua, I can't support that kind of stuff because Antigua has a lot of people who are very technical in terms of mechanics of fixing the planes. If you move that place from Antigua to St. Kitts or some other island, you've got to think about the support staff that has to be trained, and that is not going to be easy unless you're going to move all those workers to that island, in which case you have extreme expense. So I just thought I'd chip in and say, I hope that Liat can be restructured, and because I think it is essential. And it finally ought to say, it must fly more direct flights. And when it flies these direct flights, it mustn't fly them every day. Now, all sorts of small planes make money flying from Nevis to St. Croix to Dominica, but they only fly maybe 2 or 3 days per week. Why can't we do the same thing? Why do we have to fly from St. Kitts to St. Martin 7 days a week? If it flew 3 or 4 days, the public would arrange themselves so that they would avail themselves of those times. And on the other days, it could fly another direct route. So there's too much stopping. But I find that Liat, I don't know, somebody said that they don't, the government, people who run the island, the prime ministers and so forth, because if they know everything, and so Liat doesn't take time to ask the ordinary people who travel what they think. And maybe that's something that they ought to think about. Okay. That's my thought.
Can I ask you a question? I know I've given you some time, but I like the suggestions you made, right? In terms of the flights and so on, American Airlines, Delta, JetBlue, all the other airlines from the U.S. mainland have what they call minimum revenue guarantees, MRGs. But somehow there seem to be resistance to getting that sort of assistance or subsidy. Shouldn't they?
I have never quite understood why we are so willing to give support those international airlines.
Because that's the only how they'll come. You have the guarantee, their pillows.
Right. You see, whatever we do for the foreign investor, we must be careful that to do the same for the local investor. And we have to see Liat, though it's a regional entity, we have to see it as a local thing, as our thing. Because, you know, when all is said and done, I think everyone who has flown Liat would know. We might get there late. We may never get there until the next day. But all of us really in our hearts do believe that we're going to get there. And we're not going to crash. That Liat has a wonderful reputation. And we can't just throw those things out for people who will come in when the business is good and go away when the business is bad.
Okay.
when you look at your ticket price and you realize half of it or more than half is taxes. Let us not forget what the Sinkis administration did to LIAT, and by inputting the taxes on the ticket, those things automatically kill travel. So I think we need LIAT, but I think we also need to allow people, regular people in the Caribbean, to have a forum where we can express ourselves relative to LIAT's existence.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to give you some time. I needed that discussion. Just for the tickets, the charges that are integrated into the tickets, it's a more efficient way of collecting. Because remember, in the old days, you would have to go to the counter to book your flight, or to check in rather. Then you move from the check-in counter, then you go to another counter to pay your departure tax or your airport service charge, and then you go upstairs for something else. So it's an efficient way of having a one-stop. So you go to when you go to the airport, you just check in as most airlines do. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, missed this caller. You are live. Are you there, caller? Are you there, caller?
Hello.
Yeah, just move away from your radio.
Yeah, hello.
Just move away from your radio. We're hearing you. Just turn your radio off. Just turn your radio off and move away from it. Can you?
Hello?
Could you just turn your radio off and just move away from it?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, just turn your radio off. I need you to turn your radio off. Just listen to your telephone. Otherwise, we'll have to take another call. I want the whole world to hear you.
It really is kind of problem right in Antigua. To me, the government of Sinks and Nevis, they could bring the flight them down here, because it's better for the ferries of Sinks and Nevis. Because it will boost the country. This is all low.
That's your point. But do we have that infrastructure here to accommodate that?
What you 90 Prime Minister of Sinks and Nevis, Timothy, he's a powerful man, I know. We can accommodate the flight them here, because he knows what he's doing. So it will be better for the country, the federation, it will be better for the country.
Okay, got you, my dear brother.
Okay, thank you very much. That's it. Okay, all the best, eh?
Yes, my dear brother. All is well?
Okay. Yeah, take care.
Thanks a lot, my brother. Yes, in the event you're trying to get in, the numbers again are 465-2555. That's the local number. There's one number, 3 lines. The overseas number is 718-577-2916. Again, 718-577-2916. And over the years, LIAT made decisions for the benefit of Antigua and Antiguans only. We need an overhaul of LIAT, including moving of headquarters and a new name. How about St. Kitts and Nevis? Reads this email. This email reads, whenever a business gives poor service to its customers, the end results must be disastrous. In LIAT's case, it took quite a long time. I had a 1 o'clock flight from St. Martin to St. Kitts. Checked in at 11 o'clock. I sat in the lounge until 2 o'clock before a rep came and started processing some passengers. I went and asked about my flight to SKB. She said this flight is going to Antigua. And I wasn't told anything about St. Kitts, so I should check downstairs at the counter for an update, which I did and was told we have booked you on Winair for 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. I asked, how can you do that without informing me? And he said, don't worry, we will put you up and give you your dinner. I said to this guy, you should start looking for a job because LIAT can't make it. And thus, this kind of service is why PM refused to put any money into LIAT. Maybe I have good mouth because my words have come to pass. Reads that email. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Good evening.
Good evening, my dear. Hello.
This is Patsy's show.
Yeah, just move away from your equipment, turn it off, and just talk to the telephone. You're alive.
Okay, good evening. I just want to give a little input about LIAT.
Certainly.
LIAT is a good airline. When it comes to LIAT, with safety, they are number one. They have the ups and downs, and I'm never saying LIAT has too many staff. They need to cut back on their staff. But when it comes to LIAT, safety, number one with LIAT. That's my little input. Have a good evening.
Have a good evening as well. Very good point. LIAT and its safety record is impeccable. Caller, you're live. Okay, caller, you are live.
Yeah, Patches.
So.
Patches.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask a simple question. How long will it come in St. Kitts?
Well, LIAT's been in existence over 60 years.
Huh?
LIAT has been in existence for over 60 years.
So why we going to defeat them like that? Right now?
Like pardon?
Why we going to feed them like that right now?
Your suggestion. You make your suggestion.
Huh?
You make your suggestion. What is your suggestion?
Then somebody be treated so.
So how would you treat them? What would you do?
I believe all Caribbean, US Caribbean countries are going to put a hand into LIAT to bring them back on track. Come to St. Kitts. Answer. So you will do the same thing? Do you think so?
I'm listening, my brother. Make your point, sir.
Yes. I think St. Kitts should make an input in LIAT too.
Okay.
To bring them back on track.
Okay.
In spite of what people say about LIAT. Because from the time we born, right? The LIAT running St. Kitts, that's the Caribbean airline, as the lady just said. So I believe that every Caribbean country should just put a hand into LIAT and see, help them out from the fall, because if less have come St. Kitts, that's it. What do you think?
Okay, got you loud and clear, my brother. I got your point. St. Kitts should put an input into LIAT. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Hello, good night.
Good night, my dear.
How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
I'm blessed. I'm here listening to the topic concerning LIAT. As the second to last caller stated, LIAT is one of the safest airline in the sky. And nobody can run away with that. Anytime I go on LIAT, besides God, I know I'm going to reach safe. It's just something that came across my thoughts a while ago. Is that you see what happened to American Eagle? American Eagle used to leave from here direct to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and different little islands around the Caribbean. And American Eagle disappeared. Then you have to go and take a jet from here to Miami. You understand? If Seaborn did not came in on the scene, how we would have been getting to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and Barbados, and all of these little islands. You see, we have to be careful. When you come around our own, we're ready to trample. You understand? And I just heard a call, and you just stated that you all have to pay. Correct me if I'm wrong. You all have to pay for the empty seats that Delta and American Airlines and all of them that come down here when they come down here full. So why can't we do the same thing for LIAT? You know, every day of the week I hear people saying we're from Africa and we this and we that and Black Lives Matters, but yet we are not demonstrating the actions. We are not looking out for ourselves. We are not looking out for our brothers and sisters. You understand? So my little input tonight is that LIAT is the #1 airline for the Caribbean, and if LIAT come out, mine they say don't ball for the going, they say ball for the coming. You understand? And God bless Seaborn, because this airline is what takes you to San Juan, Puerto Rico, when American Eagle disappear out the skies. So we better sit down, we better come to the table, and we better try to help our brothers and sisters, and don't matter what monies we have to put. Save LIAT, please. save LIAT. I know a lot of people out there saying, kick LIAT out this guy and do this and do that. Excuse me? LIAT is one of the safest airline around this region. You have a God bless night.
Have a good night as well. My dear sister, caller, you're live. Hello, caller. So.
Good night.
Good night, sir. Hello?
I was time with LIAT. I went to St. Martin about 3 years ago. And a Christmas Eve, first time in my life, in 60 years, I spent out a Christmas. And I had a rough time coming back up. They take me to Antigua. And let me tell you something. I leave the guest house about 9 o'clock in the morning. You could leave 11 o'clock to check out. I leave about 9 o'clock, reach in the airport like I walk in an airport. And I did up to 1 o'clock. When I was supposed to rethink at 1 o'clock, I tried to ask a question, I tell nobody answer me. When I leave and St. Martin, it was around 5 o'clock, going to 6 o'clock. A flight come from St. Thomas, and instead of going to St. Kitts, they take me there to Antigua, brother. And when I reach Antigua, about 5, 6 later, and
I seem to have lost that caller. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Hi, good evening. Hi, good evening.
Good evening, my dear.
First up, the caller that said that there is no qualified person in St. Kitts, I'm distraught about that because we have persons in St. Kitts who can do the job. And
which job?
People have to realize the job of handling LIAT.
Okay.
Handling, managing the whole LIAT operation. There are qualified persons who can do that. And on the other hand, people have to realize managing an airline is not easy. It's like building a house. Everything has to be precise. You have to think about landing fees, fuel, paying persons. It's not easy. But I do think it's mismanaging of finances. And maybe the hub just needs to be changed. The hub just needs to be changed and things will be fine, because when people in a position too long, they get complacent. So if they change that, I think you can see LIAT flourishing and doing much better.
Okay, well, let's keep hope alive, my dear. Thanks for...
Yes, there's always hope. Maybe they just need to change. It's time for change. Everything is happening. Changes are happening.
Yes, and it's unavoidable. It's unavoidable. Yes. Thanks for
okay. Have a nice night.
Have a good night as well. Yes, we do have qualified persons here to do that job. And I agree with you that managing an airline is not easy. As this email reads, good evening, Patches. Sorry to say, but air transportation in the region is not going to be resolved as easily as it is some people are suggesting. International airlines have been struggling, some downsizing, some folding up. COVID-19 has compounded the situation, and the airline business has not been too viable recently. Personally, I don't think there are too many people out there who are willing to invest in LIAT. Running an airline is not like running a bus service. We cannot go back to government. That is a recipe for failure. People are knocking LIAT right now, deservedly so. But we do have a very serious problem on hand. Read that email, and that is so correct. Caller, you're live. Let's take this other caller. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Good evening, Patches.
Good evening, sir.
Noel. Patches, I want to say a few things concerning LIAT, eh? Because I've been singing this all along. Because people must know the history, you know. LIAT was founded by a Kittitian, you know, Frank Delisle. In 1953. It's more Kittitian than Antiguan. He was founded in Munster by Frank Delisle in 1953.
1956.
1953, I was a little boy flying out to Alveston.
Okay, go ahead.
I know what I'm talking about.
Mm.
And the first plane that he owned, number one, Frank Delisle was manager of Munster Company Limited, a company that shipped cotton and lime juice and etc. to Great Britain. And the first plane he acquired was a Piper plane. I was around 10 years or somewhere around there. Flying from Montserrat to Antigua. Antigua St. Kitts, but more Antigua St. Kitts. I mean Montserrat. And evolving to LIAT. So he has the name. That company you sit down with that you work for DeLille Walwyn. Mr. Frank DeLille, a shareholder in that company, a co-owner with Mr. Walwyn. He's the man who started LIAT. So LIAT has a lot to do with St. Kitts. But what happened, Mr. Walwyn, Mr. DeLille, was a businessman. How LIAT get into the hands of politicians, God in heaven knows. And that was the death knell for that company. But I am saying here tonight, without any doubt in my mind, LIAT is a viable entity for the Eastern Caribbean, for the Leeward Islands, for the OECS, so to speak. But LIAT has some destination. That route to Guyana is a fair one. Why we don't run a route to Santo Domingo? Why we don't run a route to Jamaica? The Turks and Caicos. People from Jamaica, a lot of people from Jamaica go to Turks and Caicos. A lot of people travel to the Leeward Islands from Santo Domingo. These are viable. You got power. Go up the airport on a Sunday, see how much people come in on that Dominican airline. I mean, these are viable routes, but what happened? We have to move it from Antigua too. And Gaston Brown is beyond himself. He's too obnoxious.
Okay.
And we need to restructure LIAT and take away management from the politician and the cronies. That is the problem with LIAT. Mismanagement. Look at the makeup of the board of directors. Politicians and the cronies, the investors, politicians, and because they take the people's money and invest in LIAT, that they're the politician has a monopoly.
Okay.
And LIAT, and it shouldn't be.
Okay.
It could be properly managed and directed and become a viable entity.
Okay.
Because we cannot afford to let go.
Okay.
LIAT, we don't have anything else, so the time being, hold on to LIAT. Restructure it and manage it properly.
Thank you.
Good night and God bless you.
Thank you very much. The first
Safe drive home, sir.
Hope you're well, my dear brother.
God bless you.
God bless you. And you asked a question, very interesting question, how we got into the hands of the politicians. But you're so correct in terms of the founder being Frank DeLille. Now, the late Frank DeLille. We are a little at variance in terms of the year, but in fact the records will reflect it was founded in 1956. And don't forget, in 1957, a year later, the British West Indies Airways, BWI, as we said, BW, acquired some 75% of the airline. And then in 1968, LIAT entered an agreement with Eastern. But it was in 1971, the UK-based Courtline obtained 75% of the airline, but Courtline went bankrupt 3 years after in 1974, and here's where the governments came in to bail out and keep the airline flying, stepped in and acquired the airline in 1974, and that's when LIAT 1974 Limited was formed. So that's how the government got into it after Courtline, the UK airline, went bankrupt. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Mr. Liburd.
How about thou, sir?
I'm doing okay. You know, all week I've been hearing this talk about LIAT. What I think the amount of money that was put into LIAT over the past years, you know, I think they spoil LIAT, these shareholder governments. And it is time that something be done, right? One of the things that causing a lot of money paid out from LIAT is reaching the destination late. Because you see, whenever they reach a destination late and people lose their connecting flight, they got to put them up in a hotel. And you don't put enough passengers in a hotel, it's a lot of money. There's so many different things that LIAT need to look at if they want to, you know, to make a profit. Another thing, these taxes, the taxes, they're too high on the tickets. These are what some of the governments need to look at, you know, because if the ticket get cheaper, more people gonna travel. And what is happening to a lot of the Caribbean governments now? You see what they did. Some of the aircraft that come to fly in the Caribbean, they frustrate a lot of the airlines. You know, they were frustrated because they never used to give them landing rights and these things because they didn't want the other airlines then to compete with LIAT. So now it is coming back to haunt them, right? And one of your callers said that LIAT used to fly Santo Domingo, but they stopped. I think they used to fly to Puerto Rico too. But the flights now that the caller talking about coming from Santo Domingo is only once per week. That flight has come only on Sundays. And even though the flight is once per week, then it's come with empty seats. I could tell him that. Because one time I had a friend who came, and she said they had 15 empty seats. She counted when she came. And when you see a flight, when a plane flying to a country once per week and you still got empty flights, you know. So I don't know why you're saying that LIAT should start fly back to Santo Domingo. Doesn't make any sense. Okay, Mr. Liburd, you have a pleasant evening.
Thank you very much for your input, my dear brother. Yes, you're so right. And over the years, the Caribbean Development Bank alone has put in over $153 million US. That's well over $400 million US into LIAT. I know this is not about LIAT, reads this email, but just want to help this lady who called in on Monday. She said the garbage folks refuse to take her leaves and bush. All she has to do is put them in a plastic bag and put the bags in the garbage bin. I do this every week and they take mine, reads this email. So that's a suggestion to that lady. Patrick, sorry to say, we are hearing a lot of noise about LIAT. LIAT has not been all bad as some people are making it sound. It has been good for the region, but I think that it has been poorly managed. Patrick, you can engage people all you want, as one lady suggested. But what LIAT needs right now is an injection of funds, because talk and just talk is not going to help. And it would be a big mistake to have any headquarters back in Antigua. Read this email. Patrick, you are right. 1956 is correct. In fact, it's October 21, 1956. I mean, that was founded by Kittition Frank DeLille. How many persons have shares in LIAT? Patches, when greed takes over, business crumble. Before Senkis takes any part in LIAT, please look at the consequences. People like jump and no look. Reads this email. And as we wind down tonight's programming, my Straight Dog family, my time is done and I gotta run. I'll perhaps take 2 more calls before I make my exit. Caller, you are live.
Patches.
So, madam.
You know how much money Tilly lose because of LIAT? Nobody tell me I used to work. They go there, see the bags, them all cut up, people lose their stuff. They got to reverse people them back the money. Give them back the money, huh? A lady went to England and when I asked her what she bought back for me, what she bought back for me. It's a girl, I get so much cheap things because people is going to do. And when you look, when she come down, they talk about it, something about in Barbados. Last year, the woman, they don't go never get she suitcase. Well, they need to pull up and show and get a fresh thing, you hear? Yes, it's over them ears, but the management ain't good. Everybody in there want, like a we want. We need to change. I don't know who going to do it, but we need to think. People lose so much money, man, till they don't pay back so much people.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay, thank you.
That doesn't go at all.
Thank you very much, my dear. It's the state caller. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Can you use it?
I mean, talking about LIAT, I just called to say good night to you.
How are you, my dear?
If drive home, and I love you very much.
I love you more, my dear. Thanks so much for your call and for your encouragement. And perhaps that's the way I should end it tonight, my Street Dog family, because my time is done and I've got to run. We spoke about LIAT and how best to deal with LIAT? What steps can we take? Remember, LIAT as well has contributed to our own development here as a region. A matter of fact, we did not even go into the details as in terms of the contribution that LIAT has made as it relates to the development of the Caribbean. LIAT service are important for the continued viability and sustainability of the region's critical industries, including agriculture, tourism, and other services. There needs to be, if not for LIAT, a strong commitment to the development of intra-regional air transportation. We must first agree, however, that reliable and efficient regional air transportation is an indispensable underpinning of the Caribbean development. As the interregional carrier with the widest network, LIAT has been primarily responsible for providing the inter-regional air links for the movement of people and goods. LIAT services are so important. But there are many challenges. Matter of fact, in 2012 alone, LIAT's direct and catalytic impact on the economies that it served is estimated to have exceeded US $320 million, and it contributed an estimated $63 million, or 39% of the average long-stay visitor spend. But the truth is, my Straight Talk family, the truth is, many are clamoring to open our borders, but how would we leave and or return to St. Kitts Nevis without the regional and or international air transportation? That's a big question we have to ask ourselves. But I want to thank you for your intervention tonight. I want to thank you for your contributions. We've had many contributions in terms of very few limited support, I should say, for LIAT, but some people support that a restructured LIAT, support a restructured LIAT, and schedule a flexible schedule of LIAT. LIAT, you cannot question, it's one of the safest airlines in terms of their record. A relocation of its base is another question, but in time to come, we'll hear much more about LIAT. It's the Caribbean airline. We do need a LIAT, if not called LIAT, my Straight Talk family. Until we connect on Monday, have yourselves, my Straight Talk family, a wonderful weekend. I'm Ian Liburd, and God's willing, we'll connect on Monday. But in the process, I must thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight. And as always, I want to thank you, the many callers. I want to thank you who sent emails. I want to thank those who just listen. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I'm Ian Liburd. Until we connect on Monday, have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Don't move your dial. The mayor from St. Paul's is up next. But until we connect, remember, my Straight Talk family, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. All you got to do is believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night, and keep moving on. Bye-bye, my Straight Talk family. Stand by for the mayor of St. Paul's, 3 o'clock. Bye-bye.